Mark Spector Comics, and I'm back. This time I'm going to do a fun little daily vlog. This is going to be take two because apparently the first time I had it all on mute. So if you're interested in seeing what I did today, stay tuned for that intro. Alright, so welcome back. If you haven't already, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Hit that bell notification so that when I do put out some content, you get it in a timely fashion. So I had a fun little day off today after working my 6-day stretch. So wanted to enjoy it here in the Norfolk area. Beautiful day out today in the high 80s, low 90s. Started the day off early. I went to the gym this morning. Went to a new gym across the bay in Hampton Roads or Hampton, and started off the morning, got a little workout in, and then realized that Fort Monroe was actually right next to the gym. I just thought it was just a town, and it was actually a fort, a pretty historic fort. So got some video there for you. So Fort Monroe, pretty cool spot. If you have never been to the area, I'll give you just some brief, basic information on there. It's at the mouth of the Chesapeake Bay, and it played like a pivotal role in the ending of slavery in the United States when it became known as basically the Freedom Fortress during the Civil War. Back in the early 60s, 3 enslaved African American men rode to the fort in search of freedom, and like this General Butler, ended up declaring the men contraband of war and refused to return them back to their slaveholders. So after that, more than 10,000 African Americans from the region escaped to Fort Monroe over the course of the Civil War, denying the Confederacy the use of their labor in the production of materials to support the Southern war effort. So it had a lot of rich history. The fort looked really cool. I believe it's on 7 corners, surrounded by water, around like a moat, all around the actual fort. And right next to it, there's the beach, Outlook Beach, and you could see all of the bay. It's really beautiful. Spent a little bit of time there, and then when I realized a few minutes from the actual fort, there was a comic book store nearby as well. I believe I also wanted to note that Fort Monroe was an actual military base up until like maybe 10, 15 years ago. They were using it like with actual like soldiers, like an army post, up until 2011. So now it's just more preserved as a national monument. Really cool. You can climb up some of the hills to get a nice look of the actual fort. I did that as well. It's pretty nice. You get some great views. I'm here in the historic Hampton area of Virginia. Ended up going to the gym this morning, and then I stumbled upon a pretty cool fort, Fort Monroe. Drove right through it. It was pretty awesome, and it overlooked the water next to Outlook Beach, which was absolutely beautiful. So now I'm here in town and stumbled upon this comic book shop / card collectibles area called Bender's. I'm gonna go inside, see what's in there, and hopefully pick up some cool stuff because it's new comic book day. Like I said, Bender's Books and Cards in Hampton, Virginia. Really amazing comic book shop. I did not take any footage. When I first walked in there, I was kind of like overwhelmed by the sheer size of it and the sheer amount of comic books in there. So I'm going to show you some like pictures based off of their website on Facebook, because they don't have like an actual website, just to show you like some of the stuff that they have there. There were like thousands of books, tens of thousands of books to go through, long boxes and so forth. And then I had a chance to talk to the owner, David, for a few minutes. He wasn't there initially. He had somebody working there, and then there was a gentleman that came in to sell a few books. He had a small collection to get rid of, so that's when he came into the shop. and they're always buying comic books. When I talked to him, he said that we've been buying comic book collections for 50 years now. So it tells you how old this shop has been around. And then he showed me the back room. It was like, oh, if you're looking for anything specifically, I can always try to look in the back to see if it's something we have. And then he brought me back there, and I was like, more, like hundreds of long boxes more stacked to the ceiling, different genres, alphabetically, and so forth. I was like, it almost reminded me of that one time when I did the Three Men in the Basement comic book crawl, and we went to Sarge's in Connecticut, and we went down to the basement, and we got to do some crawling. Like, this place would be epic for crawling and just looking through long boxes. That was what it reminded me of, but a lot more organized and probably easier to access. But amazing shop. Lots of variety from comic books. They had everything from New Comic Book Day, which I did go and walked around through, to cards. Obviously, the shop's called Bender's Books and Cards. They had some Pokemon. They also had magazines, like from all different genres, not just comic books. They had some albums, a little bit of action figures, toys, and so forth. But that part, I would say, is probably a little bit less organized, was like the action figures and toys. That was probably like my only critique. That part was a little messy. But the comic books itself was quite organized. You could go to one section, it would tell you what it was, from like Archie to even like specific, really niche categories like Christmas comics. I went into that little section, and they had Golden Age to like Modern Age, like a short box of Christmas comics, and I'll show you what I picked up. So my overall rating for that shop, I'd probably give it an A minus. That shop was pretty killer. Very friendly. Got to talk to the owner. Told me a little bit about the shop, and then I'll show you what I picked up. So I only picked up 4 books. Didn't want to spend too much, but first book I ended up getting, saw this, Uncanny X-Force, issue number 1. Just caught my eye. They're only asking $5, so I picked it up. I believe there's I want to say it's first appearance of Kid Apocalypse. So nothing really special, but it's Rick Remender and Opeña artwork. So I do like Rick Remender writing, so I haven't read Uncanny X-Force, so I figured I'd start with that. Dig through a little bit of the other long boxes where it was like more like Silver Age and Golden Age, and I went through a box that was just ACG. I like American Comics Groups. Very underrated publisher, I would say, probably in the Golden Age and Silver Age. Easier books to come about in the wild, and they had quite a bit. I do like my sci-fi. This one not really sci-fi. Well, I guess in a way, but more like fantasy than anything else. But this is Forbidden Worlds, issue number 125. This is Silver Age. As you can see, the comics code there. The vast majority. This was Forbidden Worlds was Golden Age, and then it went into the Silver Age. So this is the latter part of the run. As you can see, it's a 12 center, and you got this fighter pilot saying, "Look out! It's the Magician." So this is a first appearance. It's the first appearance of the Magician. Nothing really, to note for. I just thought it was a really cool cover, and it was only $5. So I was like, all right, I'll pick that up. It's also a cover done by Pete Costanza. There you go. Next book I picked up. So like I said, I went through the Christmas section initially, and they had a nice little short box. I would say probably the majority was modern, but this one was there, and it kind of like stood out. It's a little DC, part of the funnies, and this is Funny Folks, issue number 12, caught my eye because you got Santa Claus there and his reindeer. Looks like about to land on a rooftop, and you got one of the characters there from Funny Folks. Definitely has its issues, definitely. It's not in great shape. Got a little rifleman there in the back. Yep, looks like he's trying to sell his Daisy ear rifles. There you go. But it was $17. This was the most expensive book that I bought there at the shop. But yeah, I added it to my niche Christmas covers collection that I've been doing. But yeah, it'd be fun to read this. I'm sure there's probably several Christmas stories in there. And then the last book I picked up, a very fun series that's dear to my heart that I like to, well, I believe it's still ongoing or it's finishing up. I'm not sure where we're at currently. But big fan of this creator. I know a lot of, probably say the overwhelming majority of people in the community are not aware of this comic book creator, but they may or may not be aware of the publisher. But definitely a fun series. I do own some original artwork from this run. And from Alterna Comics, this is Blood Realm issue number 1. And I realized this after I purchased it, that it's in, like, out of all the books I got, it's actually like in a Mylar. And but the significance, obviously, Blood Realm, fun little fantasy story, horror fantasy that Robert Geronimo wrote and drew. But this is the first issue. First issue and first printing. So you can see here, we'll say 111. Pretty difficult to find, I would say. When this book came out in 2018, it pretty low print to begin with. Alterna Comics don't print a lot. The books are printed in newsprint, which was the reason why they were able to charge $150 for the books. Artwork, black and white, very cool. This was, like I said, the first issue in the run, which they're getting more and more difficult to find. And then after, when I got home here to start recording, I realized that this book was actually part of a private comic book collection. I was like, what is this? Private comic book collection of Michael McFadden. So Michael McFadden, if you watch any YouTube videos, I got one of your books. So I guess thanks. Thank you for having great taste in reading Blood Realm, because I'm a big fan as well. So that's that from my books at the shop at Bender's Comics and Collectibles. I also have a book, a little unboxing. I ended up buying this maybe a few weeks back when I was doing a live stream with Tony on Old Wolf's channel. Adrian was on there for a little bit, and we were talking about some random comic books. You know, no, Adrian is actual Dracula. He hasn't made some content in a while, but he hopped on the channel. You just never know who's going to hop on Tony's channel for the train wreck. And we were talking about random books, and he showed us a random book that I had never seen before. It was definitely like an indie, underground book. And I was just hanging out, and I was like, hell yeah, let's just all randomly buy this book, and we can read it and just talk about it. So I went on eBay, and I bought it. It was cheap. I think I paid less than $10 with shipping including. So the book itself was probably like $3. But I'll show you what it is. There we go. Got a little thing. Thank you for your purchase. Brit pick. Nice little card. But the book in question, Nightwolf. This is It's Not As Simple as Good versus Evil. Nightwolf, issue number 0. And I guess it's a 99-cent cover. Look at that. I don't know when this book came out. But yeah, from DDP. I don't know what publisher that is, but definitely an underground indie book. I'm going to check it out. He said that the artwork and the story was pretty good, so I'm going to give it a read. So that's that. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you did, hit the like, subscribe, comment down below, and until next time, Marks with the Comics. Out.